60 to 75% of your pipeline comes from partners. We would be leaving a lot of value on the table today if we did not talk about the thing that you literally wrote the book on, struggled to stay in business because of the AI changes that come. When you think about the impact of AI,
are people going to lose their job?
Welcome to the Growth and Influence podcast. Today's guest is Christopher Carter. He's an SAP veteran, a prolific author, and the founder of Approyo, a channel native consultancy trusted by Dell, Insight, HPE, and Microsoft. He's been in SAP since 1989, wrote 17 books. He hosts sports radio for fun, and he was literally bribed out of retirement by SAP leadership with a bottle of scotch. In this episode, we cover how Approyo built a pipeline where 75% of deals come from partners, and how AI is separating the real players from the legacy deadweight. Before we jump in, you know the focus of this show is growing businesses in large tech ecosystems. And one problem I've seen over and over again is that tech partners are all fighting over the same customers, usually those who have signaled a platform purchase or upgrade. But this is where the competition is most fierce. And if you only focus here, your win rates will be low and you'll be leaving money on the table. There's an entire buying life cycle that companies go through, and most tech partners are missing out on the opportunity to capture new customers and add value at all the other stages of this cycle. At Profit Automation, we offer a free strategy session where we teach you about this buying life cycle and give you concrete tactics specific to your situation for getting new customers who are in the less competitive stages of the life cycle. The link is in the show notes. Sign up now before you forget. All right, Chris, welcome to the Growth and Influence podcast.
Andrew, thanks, man. It's great to be here. I appreciate you.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you coming on. I mean, as the handsomest man in the SAP channel, I'm sure you have so many things, people who want to have you on their shows and things like that. So I appreciate you making time to come here with me today.
Well, I got a fresh pair of glasses. I got a new haircut. I'm looking stylish. So I'm ready to style and profile, as Ric Flair said. Rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. But Ric Flair was the man. If you ain't styling and profiling, your SAP ain't going to be doing much. That's for sure.
That's right. That's right. Well, you've been in SAP for a long time. And so if anybody can tell us how to be successful there, it's you. So we should be listening to this.
I'm sure going to try. I've had my ups and downs just like anybody in business and in life. But, I've taken a lot of lessons. I've learned from them. Sometimes I learn from them faster than other times. But for the most part, God's given me the ability to have 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 mouth. And I've tried to take that tone with it, learn, listen, view of things, and then talk intelligently one time.
Yeah, great. Well, we're excited to hear what you got to say. First of all, do you know anybody who's been in the SAP channel for as long as you have?
Actually, there's a group of 4 of us that went to the SAP academies together, and literally all of us are still in the SAP ecosystem. We did lose one for a while, but he left to go run Google Cloud for them for a while, Rob Inslin. Now he's back in the SAP ecosystem. So We still have 4, but not necessarily all 5. Oh, and I do apologize. I didn't realize I had that still on.
Can you give us a sense of time? What is that time frame when you and those 4 guys, the 4 of you were in the SAP Academy?
SAP training. We went to the SAP Training Academy in Atlanta in 1989.
Wow. 1989.
I actually left Wisconsin to go to school with a Commodore VIC-20. Now, if anybody is watching this and listening to this, please Google Commodore VIC-20 and you will see the device. That was my first computer. Then I moved to a Commodore 64. Then I had an Atari, Apple IIe.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that was about the same time you started working with SAP.
SAP was 1989 because they were going through an upgrade. They asked me to go to the training academy. So I was going to school and I was going to the academy for SAP. And lo and behold, there was David, there was John, there was Rod, there was myself, Rob, and we had our group. And there was more individuals in there, but they're no longer in.
They're not. Yeah.
So, yeah. I started, and it was funny because people were going, "You're still going to college?" I said, "Well, yeah, I'm at Tech. I'm a computer engineer. I'm working this internship and blah, blah, blah." And they said, "Oh, you're the guy." said, okay, what does that mean? He goes, well, they were telling us that one of the students was coming in. And I said, well, I'm the student.
Well, I'd like to talk about, your history. The focus of this show is how to grow a business in a channel like SAP. You're a great person to talk to for that because you've been doing it for so long. But before we get into the actual growth tactics and strategies, I want to just step back and ask you, after nearly 40 years here, is there a moment that reminded you that this work that you do is about more than software, where you saw the human impact of what you do and the fact that it actually makes a difference in somebody's life?
Oh, absolutely. I go back to, there's a positive one and a negative one. I'll start with the positive because I always like to try to be positive.
Okay, yeah.
When you see a company who is struggling with either their implementation or their system or the activities. I was working with a company that was down south in the Atlanta market at the time, and I am here in Wisconsin. And I was going back and forth to help them out personally, as well as with staff. And the implementation they had was absolutely horrible. It was just a horrendous implementation. Can't name companies, but I can tell you it was one of the offshore groups. And we came in and we literally sat down. We evaluated what was going on, how it was happening. They didn't have change management. They didn't have controls. They didn't have executive buy-in. They just started putting it in. And so we literally took a step back and said, okay, let's get some executive management in here. We got an executive who agreed we need to fix this. We need to move forward. They started going through a process. We did an assessment on their infrastructure, their software, their people, the management process. And we found it wasn't as bad as it seemed because it was very disjointed. It wasn't a gear where it just worked together very nicely. It was, you had cogs missing. And so we went in and we worked with them. It took about a good year to get that fixed. But you just saw people, they would come into the office. They were happy to be working on it. They were happy to be a part of this project. They were excited to be coming in. We literally helped them. We managed their systems. We took care of the infrastructure and so forth. And people were actually excited to be a part of the project and the process. So it was one of those things that from top to bottom, it was fantastic.
It's awesome. So that's a positive one. What era was that? Was that earlier in your career or was that more recent?
Well, actually, that one would have been one of the first years when I started App Royal. So in about 2011.
Okay. Yeah. Early in App Royal.
So the negative one. The negative one has to do all about me, has to do all about our company. I had a company that I had started called CCI, and we were doing fantastic work. We were helping companies. Well, one of my companies that we were working with was a major conglomerate across the globe. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, hit us like a ton of bricks, sent us a letter that said, we are outsourcing 80% of your work. We will either need you to get these people out of our projects and off site, or you will have to reduce your rates by literally, it was like 90%.
Whoa.
It just crushed me. I literally sat in my office with my head in my hands trying to figure out how can I help these people? How can I save their jobs? What can we do? I'm on the phone with them, and they literally made that decision in a little box. They didn't tell any of their management. They didn't tell anybody else. They were just going to farm it all out. And it literally crushed me. It also crushed the company. We had to do a reorganization of the entire organization, and it really put a horrible taste in my mouth. I actually retired for a couple of years. I didn't want to be around anything SAP wise, and I sure didn't want to be around them. And it's that company's still around in business, and it's funny. They're actually having issues with some of the stuff because they don't have controls any longer on their people in the foreign country of India. It was a huge learning process, and it's one of those things that I don't ever want to go through again.
Yeah. Now CCI survived that event, but you had to go through some changes, and then you retired.
We completely had to shut that company down and bring all that into a new company. We lost everything on that side. I completely changed everything that we did from a philosophical standpoint of SAP and what we did, how we did it. And I literally said, okay, you know what? I am shutting down this new company. I'm not bringing on any more people. I'm going to go work for somebody. And I ended up doing that. I ended up working for a startup company out on the West Coast, and they made me their head of SAP services and support for the Americas and
Hmm.
started traveling the globe.
Well, you came back, but it sounds like for a while you were a little wary of the responsibility of having other people's jobs, and you know,
Having them in the palm of my hand
those things
is
rely upon you. Can
correct.
you tell me
Yes.
about that? What's that experience like? What process did you go through there?
Well, I had to go through a deep process of rethinking and reevaluating what I wanted to do and how I wanted to do it. Um, Having people rely on you to be able to make sure that the company that you own and you run is going to be sustainable, and you're going to find business and you're going to support each other. That's everything. They rely on
Heavy.
you, and I love my staff. I
Yeah.
want to make sure that my staff is very, very well taken care of. And so I try to do those things in the best of my abilities. And sometimes you get these outside sources that just come in and just smack you around a little bit, and I don't like that, and I don't like not having the best for my staff either. So learning from that, that's why I stepped away from that and said, you know what, I'm going to work for the man for a while, and I
Yeah.
did that. But then vice president of SAP came knocking on the door and said, look, we need you back in the ecosystem. We need you to come back, and you need to do some of these things. This is what we're doing with SAP HANA, and these are the in-memory databases, and what you want to do here is what you want to do there, and let's get them together with you, and let's figure it out. So a bottle of scotch later, in a fire pit outside until about 3 o'clock in the morning. My
Uh,
wife was like, oh, you must be doing something with Michael. Okay, then just
yeah.
let him be. And
What?
literally through that night, we talked through what they were doing, how they were going through the process, um, what they were selling. He ran the oil and gas patch for the Americas. And I literally was emailing and texting people I knew in Germany, in Palo Alto, California. So it's funny. As the sun was going down and ready to come back up, I was already getting responses from people I knew in Germany about the
Mm.
activity. So we were funneling conversations back and forth. I literally got on a plane 2 or 3 days later, went to Waldorf, started touching base, started playing on the system, started understanding what it was. Then flew cross country, didn't even stop at home to get a change of clothing. Went straight to Palo Alto, California, where the US SAP Labs was. Started playing down there, and I came out of that and said to my wife, I've got an idea for another company, and as long as you're going to be Chris Carter again. And I literally, I started the company, started it, the name, went forward, and literally 6 months later, I was very fortunate. Dr. Plattner, Hasso Plattner, who was founder of SAP, gave us one of the first original SAP startup focus program certifications. We became that one of those organizations. So we went out, used that certification to be an SAP partner, and we leveraged that to start the company. And people came back. They remembered me. They liked having meetings with me. They liked working with us. We didn't burn bridges.
Yeah.
I've only burnt one bridge in my life, and I didn't just burn that thing. I eviscerated that bridge, and I napalmed that bridge, and I will never ever work with that individual or that company ever again. And that company's actually out of business now, but so I've only done that once in my life. We made sure that when we talked to the customers and we had built up the rapport, they wanted to work with us. The SAP teams wanted to work with us.
This is because you had relationships from back when you were at CCI.
That is correct.
Okay, cool. And so it took off from there.
Yes,
And you're talking about App Royal right now.
that is correct. Now we're talking about App Royal.
Okay.
App Royal is back in the picture. People are happy. We're a global company. We work with companies in Europe. We work with companies throughout the Americas. We're providing them this full gamut of SAP capabilities in the largest upgrade cycle in history. I'm very passionate with what I do. I'm very passionate with working with people and helping them educate themselves. And I'm all about the knowledge. It might be a slow time for somebody, but get some knowledge. Understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, how you're doing it. What are the activities that you've got going on within your organization? Make sure that you're learning. Make sure that you're building this. Because if you don't have the knowledge today and tomorrow, 2 days from now, you're going to be obsolete. And
Yeah.
that's what we're finding right now. I hate it. I hate telling people, look, I can't use you. You do not know what we're doing in this ecosystem right now.
Yeah.
And when I walk into customers, Andrew, I've got I was hoping to have a customer, but they're not smart enough to choose us. And it's because I specifically told the CIO, who's been on job 1 year, had never worked on an SAP system in his life. And I literally asked him, so what's your change management for this S4 upgrade project? Oh, we're not going to do any change management. Our people are fine. We're good. Well, wait a second. I've interviewed all your people. They're not fine. You've got to have change management here. This is a business transformation. It is not a technology transformation. It's business.
Yeah.
This is your entire organization. And no, we don't need any.
We're just going to play it by ear, huh?
I literally said to my staff, I said, we're never going to win this. We're going to walk away from this. Even if he says that they're going to award it to us, we're probably going to walk away because we do not want to work with people that are uneducated and refuse to understand what they need. He came back and he said that our price was too high because we had change management in there.
Yeah.
He went to an offshore company and they are hating life right now. The SI hates life. The company that they're doing hates life. The staff hates life. It's funny. I get emails from their staff because they enjoyed working with us on other activities.
Yeah.
And they just can't understand it. And that comes full circle. So move away from AppRoyo and me for a moment and go to life. Life in general and how you treat people and how you help them to succeed and come up the ladder of success with you. Some of these customers that are out there, no matter if they're my customer, if they're my partner, whoever, I fully want to help them grow and understand. And I do not understand how people are not willing to help others, either in their career, in their life, in where they're going, in what they're doing, the actions that they take to help others or not. I just don't get it. And maybe it's because I grew up in a different philosophy. My parents were always willing to help me. I've had people in my business career that have helped me and I've tried to help them. Nowadays, it seems like everybody's it's me, 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 me. It's instant gratification. Have a cup of coffee with I've got an intern meeting next week with a young man. I probably can't have him as part of our company because he doesn't have the tech chops yet. But yeah, I know people at Ernst & Young. I know people at other companies that this kid's in the finance industry and is going to be graduating next year. I'm willing to have a cup of coffee with him, pay for his coffee because he's in college. And then if there's somebody that I can reach out to, hey, here's an intern that you might be interested in.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll appreciate that. Yeah.
For each other.
Everybody needs that kind of leg up a little bit.
Amen to that.
Now, when
everybody knows SAP companies, hey, I could use some leads here.
That's right. Well, and you're talking about helping each other out. When we were speaking before, you said 60 to 75% of your pipeline comes from partners.
It does. Yes,
so you have these relationships with other companies that it sounds like they're mutually beneficial and based on helping each other out. What's the real secret to making those relationships actually deliver? Because I think a lot of companies in the channel have tried partnerships and they've created the agreement and then nothing ever happens.
Well, that's part of the problem. You sign a piece of paper and then everybody walks away who is a part of that agreement. What I've done is I've taken on the responsibility of basically 3 relationships. And then I designate relationships for others. And then I go meet with the account reps. I meet with the vice presidents. I meet with the regional VPs. I meet with the presidents. I meet with the people a part of that company. So we've got really 3 that are focused for us. One is SAP, of course. I go to all the SAP meetings. I'm constantly flying around. I was in New York for the kickoff meeting for North America when we were discussing. I'm a voice. I want to make sure that they know me, they see me, that we are here for them. And we are, because we're an SAP partner.
Yeah, a lot of partners in the channel are going to look at that big platform partner, right? The channel owner. And they're going to think that the leads are just going to come because they've joined the partner network, right?
Oh, I've joined it, but I don't have a voice. Nobody knows what I'm doing. Nobody knows what our team is. but yet they're the ones that are that where they should look internally and say, well, nobody knows what I'm doing. And nobody, oh, because I'm not involved. I don't integrate. I don't talk to my other partners. I don't have relationships with my competitors who could use me for some activities.
Yeah.
I'm front and center. I make sure my voice is heard. I'm an advocate for my customers who are running SAP software. I'm also an advocate for my fellow partners. If there's something going on in our ecosystem, I'm willing to let SAP know it. I'm not burning bridges. I'm giving them offer advice and how to and what we see, and because we are the front line. We are a territory-led partnership organization. We, Aproyo and our partner, or the fellow partner ecosystem, we're the ones that see and talk to the customers all day, every day. So that's one main one. Two is Dell Technologies. Dell is a phenomenal organization built by a man who built it out of his dorm when he was a young man in college. So I love that activity because that's how I started, was in college, and I was still going to college when I did it. So I love Michael Dell.
Yeah.
Well, I hired two of his executives back in the day, Sean Gilmore and Aaron Jennings, who worked directly with Michael in one way, shape, or form. So we literally make sure that Dell partnership for SAP, we do all the SAP services for Dell around the globe. We provide them with their SAP services, their TDI, everything. And so we are constantly talking with individuals within the Dell ecosystem. And then it leads into the third partner, which is Insight Communications or Insight Technologies out of Phoenix, Arizona. They're a $10+ billion entity.
Now, this is a distributor, or are they a TSD these days? Or
and they've got services, they've got data center, they've got cloud, they got activities. They're the largest Microsoft Azure reseller in the United States.
Okay.
They're also a $1 billion reseller of Dell Technologies. And that's why we're a perfect fit. We've been working with them now for 11 years. And as part of that relationship, we bring them activities, they bring us activities. They bring us SAP, we bring them the infrastructure and the Microsoft. We want to, I try to leverage all of my partners at once, which is crazy, but I'm selling the SAP solutions and the licenses and the service support around it. I'm selling the Dell infrastructure because these companies are running SAP and other pieces of the SAP ecosystem on it. And oh, by the way, I'm selling that infrastructure through Dell Communications. And so it's fantastic to be able to have Insight selling the Dell infrastructure and me selling the SAP services.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you've worked really hard on these partnerships and you've been strategic in the way that you've set them up. Do you ever use Insight as a TSD? Like, do you use them as an extension of your services arm, or do you only deliver services through your own employees?
No, we work through Insight quite a bit. We are a tier 2 to them from a Microsoft Azure support mechanism.
Okay.
And from a Azure sales perspective. All of our Microsoft licensing goes through the Insight communications team. If we need anything from an infrastructure standpoint, we try to go 100% through Insight. So we try to be a global partner with them. We also had done data center activities through them, but they sold off their data center team to ThinkOn up in Canada. And so we've moved away from that. And now we just strictly use Azure, AWS, GCP, and Dell for those activities. But it's literally, there is a channel partner, they're working the channel, we're working our channels, and we bring it all together in a nice, clean, neat, clean package.
That's awesome. Well, I think we would be leaving a lot of value on the table today if we did not talk about the thing that you literally wrote the book on. And this is SAP and AI.
Yes. Well, I got new books in. As a matter of fact, look at all those large language models, small language models with activities. And then I got my other one, which is the Transforming Business with Intelligent Technology for AI.
Nice.
And then my third one came in, Beyond Algorithms, the Ethical Frontier of General Intelligence and Internet Governance. How does that sound professional?
That's heavy stuff, but that's what everybody who is involved in any kind of business on the internet today needs to be thinking about. When you think about the impact of AI for a partner business like Aproyo, or even if they're not in SAP, if they're in the Microsoft channel, the Salesforce channel, HubSpot, Oracle, any of these companies, what's going to happen and how is it going to impact this business? And are there things that people need to do to survive? Or companies literally gonna struggle to stay in business because of the AI changes that come?
Those are all good questions. So let's unpackage those individually.
Okay.
So let's start with, are people going to lose their job? Yes, some people are going to lose their job. But what I tell people day in and day out, and I just came back from a conference I spoke at in Clearwater Beach, AI is going to make you a better employee for the company that you work in. And it's going to help you be a better employee for the people you work with. Because AI, for specific roles, you still need to have eyes on it to be able to use it properly. 2, companies will start weaning themselves off juniors. And I mean juniors. I gave a speech at the Tech Summit in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Fantastic event. Loved it. I hate to say it, but mine was the most popular one because there were a lot of college students there, and they didn't understand what they were going to see and what they're doing. I specifically told them, if you're a junior developer, you are useless to me. I now have a tool that can do your job. What's going to make you valuable to me as somebody who's hiring is I need you to be that step up. Bring up your game. Don't just think you're going to sit there and code all day and that's all I need to do. No. I need you to be smart enough to work with the business, take the details from the business, bring them back, and work with your AI tools now to build what the business wants, instead of just being the coder of that tool.
Yeah, and a point of evidence on that is that I actually haven't seen this officially, but somebody just told me that the Big Four have stopped hiring junior consultants altogether, which is, I don't know how.
For Wall Street Journal, one of the papers, I saw that as well. You are correct.
Yeah, I don't know. And I don't know how many out of college jobs that's going to impact. I mean, it seemed like they were a major employer of new graduates coming in as junior accounting consultants.
What I think makes a bigger difference, Andrew, is the basic coders who are in third world countries that we use very cheap labor.
Yeah.
Because they don't have our business acumen behind them. So if we're in college, and it's funny, I was talking to groups of students at that summit, and there were professors in there. As a matter of fact, I was just talking to a teacher last night at our pub restaurant, and we were talking, and I said, you need to level them up, give them the business knowledge, not just the coding knowledge, just the basic code, how I do the bird flying across my screen. Everybody can do that now, and every tool can do that now.
Yeah.
What is it going to do for my business, and why does my business need it, and how is it going to be reflective for the business to go, here's one step, then here's the second step. I need them to do that, and I need them to put their eyes on the keys or the code to be able to make sure that that's done correctly, and then to be able to update and continuously upgrade that code from there. I don't need a keyboard warrior. I need a business warrior who knows how to code.
How can somebody get to that point if they're just coming out of college? Do you have any practical tips for how they can gain the skills that you're talking about?
Oh, yes. Well, first of all, don't necessarily have to go to a 4-year school. Go to a trade school who's going to teach you that. Trades are phenomenal. We need those. Okay. Go to one of the Microsoft, go to the coding courses. Heck, I could set you up on YouTube videos for 6 months, and you will come out and you'll understand business transformation. When you're going to school, hey, I enjoyed cocktails as much as the next guy. But when you're going to college, take those advanced classes that talk about the business, not just the coding. Talk about where businesses go, how you use finance, how you use HR, how you use the different departments, because that's the knowledge you need. You need to have those understandings to be able to pull it from the business transformation that they're asking you to do and the changes that you need to manipulate to make that happen. So I don't mind if you're in a 4-year college, a 2-year college, a 6-week college, whatever it is, but take that step above and beyond just basic coding. It's funny we talk about this today, Andrew, because I was literally talking to this young man, Darius, in Clearwater Beach, who is working for Microsoft. He was at the same restaurant I was at, and both of us were working on something with our laptops out because it had the free Wi-Fi. I got myself an Arnold Palmer. I got myself a bucket of chicken wings, and he was eating all it. And he saw my Microsoft Azure on my laptop. And we started having that same conversation about the things that Microsoft is actually having their employees do who maybe haven't had full business transformation or full business acronyms yet. You got to learn the business more than you need to learn the coding. And so take every single class, go to webinars, go to seminars, talk to people who are already doing it. Send me a text, send me an email, call me. I'll send you to some, hell, they're free all over the internet nowadays.
Yeah.
But get that next level on that.
Okay. Well, why don't we zoom out a little bit? We're talking about AI and the individual impact. What about the macro impact? How is AI going to change the business as a whole? I mean, I know I know SAP just came out with Joule.
Yes, correct.
Which introduces new platform capabilities. Salesforce has made billions of dollars of acquisitions. Analysts will tell you that it's because they were afraid that AI was going to make their whole business obsolete. And the license-based app model that they have. And so I'm curious, what kind of big macro level changes do you think partners can expect in the future, regardless of what channel they're in, and how can they prepare to live in that new world?
Oh, well, I think the macro is huge. I personally believe, and I've made this comment in several speeches and events, is I have not even walked into the baseball stadium yet to change into my uniform in my locker room. We're that early, and I'm a baseball player, so that's my analogy.
Yeah.
We
AI is the baseball game, right?
Yes.
The impact it's going to have, that's the baseball game. You're saying we're still outside of the stadium.
We still haven't even walked through the players' entrance yet to change our uniform in the locker room. It's that early. And the changes, just think about it, from going from Chat GPT. Now, remember, we used to call this machine learning 5-10 years ago because we were just hooking up machines and we were trying to get as much data as we possibly could with multiple machines connected together to get the processing together. Heck, I used to have in my old basement multiple old IBMs that were all connected together so I could have as much horsepower as possible to run off of one system. So it's the old machine learning activities. Well, now they've just put a nice clean wrapper around it so anybody and everybody can use it. But where it makes a difference and changes from the macro level is businesses. Businesses do not want data. So I don't want your business information, Andrew. I want Chris Carter's business and information. I want it kept in one central repository. So this is why I wrote the book about small language models versus large language models.
Oh, yeah.
I want my language models on my one database to be my records of truth. So when my SLMs are being understood and developed and designed, all those activities wrapped around it, I specifically want everything there to come to me. I don't want any of your information being in my data because your information is going to skew my information. So companies keep thinking, oh, large language models, no. If you want granularity on your data and your information, it is all about your one clean, concise database, and then get granular on that. Make that your small language models. Microsoft, Google, ChatGPTs, all these tools that are out there in the wild, they're the large language models because those organizations are boiling the ocean. To make it an even better analogy, if there's anybody out there that knows the Encyclopedia Britannica, that's what I grew up with in my parents' house with 29 books. Could be the smaller books, every letter of the alphabet plus a dictionary.
Yeah.
Well, that's what the world is now. That is our Encyclopedia Britannica is the world. Let them use that data if you're doing it for a marketing or something. But if you're going to do finance and HR and your warehousing and you're going to analyze last year's data from this year's data or 3 years ago, and you want to then you need to bring it down. And instead of doing the Encyclopedia Britannica, you need to use the dictionary that we used to all have a dictionary that had the entire alphabet on it. Use that dictionary of your information, your
Now,
company's information.
and when you get to that point, I mean, you're pointing to the need for a clean data schema, clean
Yes.
data,
Yes.
accessible data, data security, data dictionaries, and all of the things that data operations have needed for a while. But now with AI, it's going to be critical. And
It's
a lot of
mandatory.
people have been ignoring that. That's a customer need that is
You
going to
don't do
arise.
any projects without finding out, when did you last scrub your data? Have you done any archiving? Well, when we first were doing it, we had one customer that said, well, we haven't archived in probably 20 years. Well, wait, what? And they literally had 23 years of EDI data, electronic data interchange data, and they haven't touched it. And then they had people that were no longer part of the organization. Well, we don't know. We've always done it this way. Okay, well, why do you still need this? Well, we had to do a full cleansing project. Every company that is going to AI should first and foremost start with a data cleansing and a data security process. Make sure that it is only your data, it is your company's information, and then make sure that it is the cleanest, most concise data possible. Because if you're using garbage data, any AI tools that you use may, and I'm going to stress may, bring you some false positives because the data that you're using is crappy data.
What are the top couple? You've got the apps that the user uses, like
Mhm.
SAP, or it might be a CRM or something like that. But what are the top apps down a layer below that are going to be necessary to make that data as clean and in the right schema and accessible, and maybe data analytics, predictive data tools? What are the top 3, 4 tools that they're going to need to get to that world?
Well, I love Databricks, and now SAP likes them so much they started a partnership with Databricks. So you're going to clean data, you're going to get it analyzed, you're going to be able to put it into those repositories. You're going to make sure that the schemas. We use a tool called Overwatch as well. That Overwatch tool manages all the predictive analytics and monitors everything that's going on. That's from Move to AI as well. And so you're looking at those. So when your data comes in, first, it's the clean data. So you know it's coming in from wherever you put it. If it's in your HANA database for SAP, or if it's in your Oracle database for OCI, or if you've done the comparison and you put it into a data lake and now you're drawing from that data lake, but make sure that you have one record of truth or one side of truth. So as you're getting it funneled in, that data is coming uh, from your databases of truth. And
Yeah.
so it's coming through your Databricks, or you're coming through your other apps, and being able to assess it and secure it before you use it. I like the ASU model, Arizona State, but assess it, secure it, use it.
That's awesome. Well, I think we're going to end on that, Chris. This has been a fantastic conversation, and really appreciate you coming and sharing the many years of experience that you have in the channel to talk about how to grow a business and where you think it's going in the future, especially at this key inflection point with AI here. It's been really valuable. Thanks for being here.
I appreciate it. And just to leave you on this note with the channel is so important to both the individual organizations that are a part of the channel, the customers, and the channel providers themselves. We all need each other. And I think as part of being in the channel, it's how you work with each other and reciprocate to each other and understand their point of view to your point of view to their point of view. And if we can all understand that and just not think of about as, hey, I need to get this and I need to do that, and you need to buy this and you need to buy that. If we all think about it that way, especially with the power of AI that we all are going to need to revolutionize our business transformations, we're all going to be set. If it becomes greedy, it's not going to work as well as it could. That's why the channel is so important, because the channel is always going to be there, and it's just making sure that we work together.
100%. Thanks, Chris.
Oh, you got it. Thanks, Andrew. I appreciate you.